and then we can always open the question for questions afterwards. All right, so thank you everybody for joining. I know it is late, but this was so that we can accommodate as many as possible. And there are 3 sessions in this series, and this is kind of the first one of the series. But it's really good to have a couple of new faces, a couple of judges with some experience. Some have just joined us out of curiosity, but it's always good to have you on board. And so this is by, it's not a training. It's not a training session. It's really an information sharing session. And we would love to have as many new volunteers on our program. We all are volunteers. Everybody who's involved in First Lego League are volunteers. We are doing a massive drive to get our alumni, or those students that were participating or have been competing, to come back and to judge and referee and mentor new teams. We would also like to provide all the information necessary to encourage new volunteers to join the community. And we would love to share all the resources that are also available. I'm just checking. Linda was supposed to join the session, but I think we'll carry on nonetheless.
She just joined the incorrect session. She will be online in a moment.
Oh, thank you very much. All right. So then I think we can start. I will start the presentation. Linda and I are presenting together for this session, but Linda will then, I will pause in my presentation, and then Linda will do a part, and then we can have some questions and answers. All right, so let's just start the whole presentation. So really welcome. We are the UNISA Science Engagement Center. We have evolved out of the ICET Robotics Project, and the ICET Robotics Project started way back in 2009 with our very first robotics team competing in Smart Moves, the First Lego League theme of 2009. And since then, we have evolved. We have reached more learners. We have reached more schools. We have supported more teams and coaches in team development. We not only host a regional, we have hosted into the national competitions. But we are now at a position where we are trying to support even the volunteers. And so I know for many UNISA academics, community engagement is important. So this allows you an opportunity to engage with community. The theme this year is Masterpiece, and we are very encouraged that you have joined the session or watching the video. All right, and so by way of introduction, my name is Patricia Gous. All right, so you must have got the information, so thank you for joining the session. Scary as it is, on the 28th of October, we will be hosting the largest First Lego League regional competition since COVID. And I'm going to say to date, there are 48 challenge teams, but I think that might have changed. Things happen very fast. The competition will be hosted in the ZK Matthews Hall, and we're going to start promptly at 8 o'clock, despite all the challenges we face, but we will be there. So we are inviting you then to be part of the science engagement inspiration opportunity. If you haven't yet volunteered as a judge, we will give you the details now, but all the resources that you'll need, you can find on the First SA website. There you can sign up as well, and you can sign up for multiple regional competitions. Yes, you are very, very welcome. Okay, so I'm going to set out my disclaimer that this is not training, this is just information sharing, and I'm the first to acknowledge that I do not know everything. There are people in this session who have more judging experience than I have, and who have more refereeing experience than I have, but nonetheless, you are encouraged to sign up and to volunteer and to join this community. We have a support community, we have training materials and resources, and of course, the more you volunteer, the more you're going to learn. And you will be encouraged to see what you will gain out of this process. All right. So just for those who don't know about First Lego League has 3 programs. The Discover program is for the grade R's, and we focus on problem solving. And they don't usually come to regional competitions. They are usually, the teams usually compete or celebrate at their schools, and we have celebration events for the grade R's. By the time you come to grade 1, 2, and 3, we have the Explore program, and Linda's going to unpack that just now. But really, it's about models and the computer programs, and then there's the research project, which the teams need to then proudly explain from their poster, a show me poster, which they need to bring to the judging session or the review session, as we call it. And then for challenge, well, those are the big children, grade 4 to grade 10. We need to have a robot that must be designed. We need to have programs that work. The team needs to have a robot game strategy. So optimal point, you only have 150 seconds to score, and you must be able to do as many missions as possible in the 150 seconds. Yes, and then you have an innovation research project that you've got to present to your judges, and then the team needs to have teamwork, obviously, like a team identity. And so I'm just putting in the line below that we really, the vision is that every school will have a first tech challenge robot. It's those big robots, they're remote controlled, 3D printing, laser cutting kind of stuff. Bigger teams, they learn financial planning, they learn project management, and so that is where we're going. And so it's all a pipeline for our learners who are our future. All right. About the first theme, I'm not sure how many of you know, and it's really about, it's called Masterpiece. It's a part of the first in-show, and you'll see every program has got their own in-show program, all linked. But the first Inspires website will give you all the materials you need. There's lots of extra resources. There's a lot of materials that you can use, and you're really welcome to find all the stuff you need there. That is for the materials. The first essay is where you're going to sign up for our competitions in South Africa, all our regional competitions. Okay. The challenge map this year is mega colorful. It's very exciting. We can't wait to play and to see what the teams, all linked to the Masterpiece theme about sound engineering, about productions and theater and 3D and immersive, and it's very exciting, this challenge, Matt, and we'll unpack that when we do the refereeing, the match refereeing. I think that's session 3 of this presentation. But just to not to have the Explore and the Discover learners left out. The purple is for the Discover, and they've got to build a stage, and it can turn. You see, they learn about gears, and there's a little cameraman, and they've got lights, camera, and action, and it's got a theater at the back there, and they can draw different pictures for that. The Explore have got a stage with lights, and the lights flicker, and you can program the lights to flash, and the singer can move, and that's all part of their programming. So more about that just now. All on the same theme of Masterpiece in show. All right, so today is the 13th, and so I'm going to give an overview of volunteerism. How to volunteer, you just need to sign up. And then there are various opportunities, but I just want to also add to that is there are opportunities, but some of the opportunities definitely require preparation. Our learners have got 8 weeks to prepare, and our learners are working very hard. And I do not think it's justified if you as a volunteer arrive unprepared to judge learners that are well prepared. And so there's always that you do need to be prepared. You're volunteering, but you do need to be prepared. And there will be a number of training sessions and training almost quizzes that just to make sure that you're on par. And so today we will just discuss how to judge the research innovation project. Okay, next week we'll do the robot designs and core values, and then on the 27th, the refereeing. Okay, so why volunteer? Well, if you are, why not? It's a way of paying it forward for all the privileges that we have received, especially these learners who have participated previously. And these photographs were taken before COVID, when we used to have many teams participating at UNISA. It's changed, and these little ones are probably all grown up by now. I think these photographs were taken in 2016, which is 7 years later. Yeah. So you volunteer in a role. There are many roles. If you don't find a role that you're really comfortable with, please let our volunteer manager know, and I'm sure Diana will find you something to do. We always need the extra hands. And it's to be part of a journey. If you volunteer now, you can keep volunteering. You can watch the learners improve. You can watch the teams improve. You can learn from the learners. It is an amazing experience. And I just want to add here, this guy here, his name is Haiku. Haiku, and this lady here, Amy. Oh, there's Sylvia as well. So these two were sent to MIT, and here they are referees. They've been to MIT, and Haiku is changing the world of robotics in Boulder, Colorado. And maybe one day I will share his story. I do think we need to share his story. It's part of a journey. So why volunteer? Well, if you have FOMO, please volunteer. All right. So what are the opportunities? Well, in challenge, we've got the refereeing the robot matches, judging the project, the technical robot design, and the programming. There's core values, but we also need extra hands. So we need a pit area manager to control the pit areas where each team has a table where they've set up all their displays. There's just linked to that. There's also practice table managers where the teams can practice for about 10 minutes if something's not quite working out. They've got 10 minutes to quickly change programs if they want. We have team runners who go and call teams if they are not on schedule. We need scorekeepers running up and down the score sheets. We need score runners. We need, the list goes on. Explore, we need volunteers to review the projects, and Linda will unpack that just now. And then just generally, we need admin. We've got certificates to print. We've got T-shirts to hand out. We've got registers to collect. We've got public relations. We've got a very special group of volunteers who take our VIPs on tour guides or act as tour guides and take them on guides of the teams. And so maybe if we can get a couple more volunteers there, that would just be amazing. That would really be awesome. Yes, you get a T-shirt, you get a free T-shirt, but you use that for all the events that you're going to volunteer at. We'd like to give you a token of appreciation. We haven't decided what that token of appreciation is. And then we try to issue certificates to say thank you for your participation. But really, yeah, you're going to get much more than that out of this volunteering opportunity. All right. So in terms of the resources, all the judge rubrics, and I'm going to go through it now. I'll go through it step by step. But this is not the training. We're going to have training where you kind of liaise with other judges. And I want to say up front, whichever regional you're going to volunteer for, Eastern Cape, Western Cape, Gauteng, with Saibono at the Saibono Science Centre. There's one in KZN. I think that one is in Richards Bay. Limpopo's one is happening now on the 14th of October already. Northern Cape, SKA Carnarvon, that's on the 4th of November. But you can welcome to volunteer for multiple events. That said, wherever you are going to volunteer, please make sure you arrive about an hour before the event starts so that you can actually meet your co-judges and your co-referees and that you are all on the same page when it comes to judging. We would prefer that everybody knows each other and that we don't have some judges that are very strict and some that are not strict at all, because that's when you come together with your deliberations, it just prolongs the deliberations and that just causes stress. So please be prepared and please arrive an hour. If you come an hour and a half before the time, you can still have a cup of coffee. Yes. And then for nationals, there are at least 4 robotics teams that will represent South Africa internationally. And I'm very proud to say that we had 4 teams from 4 different provinces this year internationally. We had from the Western Cape, from KZN, from the Northern Cape, and Gauteng. And I think that's important, that we get a proper national competition representing the country as a whole. But then we need core judges in all the provinces as well. Yes. All right. So there's 2 kinds of judging, the Explore project and then the Challenge project. And I'm just going to, can you already see it, Elmarie?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right.
Okay,
I'm out of here.
awesome.
Over to you, Linda. Thank you.
Okay, Patricia told me I only have 5 minutes. I think I might need less than that, because with Explore, it's actually very, very easy, because they give us everything that you need to review our teams. So for this year, the reviewing sheet is obviously, it's the Masterpiece reviewing sheet. And when we look at the teams, remember, we don't judge them, we only review them. And you only have 3 criteria that you're meeting them against, whether they are in the beginning stage, so they are beginning to develop the team poster, the team model, the presentation, or the answers. They've accomplished it or they've exceeded it. And that's the only ticks that you're going to make on this reviewing sheet. I'm just going to move up. I didn't want to make it too small, so I'm just briefly going to take you through the questions so that you can understand exactly what we're asking them. And remember, because it's not a judging session, I tend to more have a conversation with our learners. And you also need to remember that English might not be their mother tongue. So you can tell them to answer in their mother tongue as long as they show you what they're explaining. I find that I do understand what they're trying to tell me when they are showing on the model or on the poster what they are trying to explain. And if you're not sure, you can always ask the coach to just translate, because the coaches will be standing close by. Okay, so they are getting reviewed on the challenge solution, what they've learned about the challenge. So everything what they learned about their hobby will be relevant this year, or their interest. And how they explored possible solutions, and how it's going to impact on the community. Those are the only 2 questions that they get asked on the challenge solution. Then on the core values, this is quite important, because we always ask them how they used core values in their team and what skills they learned from each other. So you'll see it's very basic questions. It's nothing in depth, but we encourage every single person every single learner in the team to answer. Then when you go to your team model, you ask them to describe the team model, why they put certain things on the model, and then you ask them how they included the Explore set in your model. Remember, the Explore set this year is that stage that Patricia showed earlier. And they need to describe how they used the component in that Explore model into their team model, how they incorporated it. And then you're going to ask about their coding, which part of the model they motorized, and they need to show you the code of how they motorized it, and they must show you how that part of the model moved. And then the last one is the team poster. They need to make or answer questions on what they included in the team poster. So, why they included certain things. What's that picture? You ask them questions about it if you see that they don't include that in their presentation. And then also very important, because the team poster must show the team journey throughout the season. And that's really what the reviewing is about. Remember what I said, it's a conversation. You ask the questions, but bring it into the conversation. The rubric, basically, that's the rubric, but you can also make little notes. I mean, you've got this reviewing question sheet where you can write notes that we will give. It's exactly the same as the rubric, the first page, but you can make notes on there if you want to give that back to the team. And then the last page of the reviewing document is the awards list. Remember, each and every single Explore team gets an award, and you decide, you as the reviewer will decide which award they can get. You can get 2, you can give out 2 coding awards if you want. You can give out 3 core values awards if you want, if you have that many teams. But you can also name your own award if you see this at the bottom. Okay, any questions?
Linda, do you perhaps have a picture with you just of kind of what an explore model should look like?
I don't actually have one close by, but what I can do, I'll find it while you're talking, Patricia, and then I'll just post it in the chat. But the explore model, I can just describe it. The explore model must have the explore set on, so it will have to have that stage on. And then it must also talk about the team solution. Now, if you have seen the masterpiece set, you'll see that there's a skateboard rink, basically, because the backstory is all about the little girl. Her hobby is skateboarding, and she needs to explain to everybody how to make, or she needs to make skateboarding interesting with her explanation. With Superpowered, it was actually much easier because I see Pendile is in the room and he's doing Superpowered with his teams this year. It's a much easier one because the kids needed to think of their energy journey, and they had to build their model around the energy journey and how to make it easier. So always keep in mind that backstory for the explore set, and that's what the kids are going to build on that explore model at the end of the day. The worst thing, or what we do not want, is just that explore set on there. There's a lot of extra Lego pieces in your explore set, so make sure the kids use it to build a model. We do not just want to see that stage on their mat.
And there's a lot of imagination and creativity. It's also allowed. Hey, Linda.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The wilder, the better. We had a team last year at UNISA for the Superpowered season. Their answer to our energy crisis was that the aliens are going to come down with a spaceship and bring us power. And they built this elaborate spaceship. It was actually quite phenomenal. It was so cute. I mean, not really doable, I don't think, unless we have, you know, we can contact ET. But yeah.
Until the aliens arrive, Linda. Until the aliens
and
arrive.
bring us all the power, of course. Patricia, I see Pendile's hand is up.
Okay, Pendile, yes.
Hello, Mama.
Hi,
Yeah, yes, I'm listening to Linda with the model. I want you to take again what she has said. You will say they build their own models, what they think of. They are not using the ones that are being asked in the milestones. They can build anything now as their model.
Linda's going to get us a picture what she means.
Yeah.
It's always,
they must use the ones in the booklet. So the ones that they got the building instructions for Pendile, those have to be on their model. But that's not all that needs to be on the model. They also need to create things with the other blocks, you know, things that they think about that has to do with the solution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think
clear. But I'll find a picture and then I'll post it.
Thanks, Linda. You can show us as well. I'm going to go into challenge now, and you can come back.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Sorry, I have a follow-up question on that. Is that only applying on challenge, not on explore, or explore as well?
It's only explore.
Okay, these apply,
not challenge.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, is that okay?
Yes, it is fine, Doc. Thanks.
All right. Okay, so that was explore, specifically for Masterpiece, how we're going to review it. And then Linda also, just for the benefit of our Eastern Cape teams that are still doing a celebration event for Superpowered, that's just for explaining that as well. But in every case for explore, they get models they have to build, and then they represent their solution by building with all the other Lego pieces that are in the box as well, their whole solution, so they can discuss it, so that a whole team together can share their story of how they're going to solve the problem. And Linda reviewing a team is something to see, because she gets every single learner to say something, especially the very shy kids in the team. it's really important that everybody gets a time to chat and to talk. And so, yeah, Linda, we need a video of you one day talking to your teams. It's amazing. All right. Excellent. I think Linda's gone to find the photograph for us. So I'm going to now continue. I'm going to continue all right. So we did the Explore project, how it's going to be reviewed by our reviewers. And that is definitely an opportunity to volunteer. It's amazing. You will be blown out of your mind to see what learners have come up with. And they are only grade 1, 2, and 3. And remember, they're also programming. All right. Next is then the challenge. Okay, so the challenge is kind of next level. Remember, the challenge teams are from grade 4 upwards. They need to build the robot. They need to program the robot. They need to do the project. They need to do a presentation. And so what we're busy doing now on a Friday afternoon is we're busy talking to our coaches, and you're welcome to attend those sessions as well. How to unpack the project, how to do the project. Learners are putting in a lot of effort into the innovation project. They've got a number of criteria they need to adhere to. We want them to speak to experts, and they've got 4 experts they need to speak to in their booklets. Whether they do a project on related to those 4 themes, it's fine, but at least they have learned something. The challenge teams also need to share their idea with a group of people, and not just the team members. They need to share it, say, with the Lions Club or Rotary Club or members of their community. They need to be able to share it. They need to be able to collect data and evaluate it. So the challenge project is a little bit more complex, but it's, yeah. Okay. So I would really, if you want to get some resources, there is on the First Inspires, there are a whole lot of challenge resources. And if you look down here, there's the engineering notebook, the team meeting guide. Now, those are the booklets that have the 12 sessions that the teams use. The teachers use the team meeting guide to kind of guide them through the challenge. The learners, or the team of learners, have the engineering notebook, which they then use to collect and collate all their work for the 8 weeks. Remember, they've been working for 8 weeks. And so for you as a volunteer judge or wherever you're going to volunteer, I would really recommend that you definitely go and look at these resources, that you are totally familiar with the work that the learners have been exposed to for the 8 weeks. And you're welcome to find out what they're doing. You're welcome, if you would like to join any of our coach sessions, you're welcome to join us there as well. But this is the resources they have, and this, please be well prepared. If you're going to volunteer to judge, you, especially the project, you need to be well prepared. All right. So the teams kind of get a challenge story, and that's what Linda was talking about. What is the backstory? All right. And so this is their backstory. They want to, and the whole thing goes about how do you, well, the learner, I think the first challenge with the learners at the moment, I'm going to speak to teams, is trying to decide which hobby they're going to depict. Okay, so they have an assignment to use technology to help them share, and here it is. I should have had a green pen or something here. How do you use technology or science or art or to help share your passion, whatever your passion is, whether it's skateboarding or crocheting or, I don't know, making porcelain dolls, or I don't know if anybody collects stamps or whatever. Very important. You are not allowed to create a video. Okay, so just taking your phone and making a video and bringing that as your project is not okay. We need learners to kind of step out of their comfort zone, and they need to do sound production. They need to do video production, even just greenboarding, you know, behind with animation or whatever they use. There has to be evidence that they have learned something. They have to find a hobby and they have to learn something. And so please, if you're going to volunteer as a project judge, read these carefully and join our information sessions as you go along, but it's really important. All right. So there's always the thing, should I judge or should I referee? And so refereeing we'll deal with in 2 weeks' time. But to judge, this is kind of how a judging session works. Maybe for those who've been part of First Lego League for a very long time, this is kind of the new format where we have all the judges, 2 project judges, 2 technical judges, and 2 core values judges in a room. So ideally, there should be 7 judges in a room. It allows for discussion, and that is important, okay? But timing is also important, especially now at the UNISA competition. In theory, we have 6 streams running in parallel. They cannot, if teams are not on time, they forfeit their opportunity, and we cannot allow that to, we cannot run late, we cannot put in extra sessions. There's nothing at the end of the day, and there is definitely nothing in between the sessions. It runs like clockwork. It has to run like clockwork because the judging sessions are synchronized with the game runs. Remember, each team has 4 game runs as well, so it's a very tight schedule. So each team basically has 2 minutes to come in, and we usually have a room judge or a room manager. They get 5 minutes to tell their project, and I've got some resources. I'll show you how to kind of get the team presentation streamlined. It's with different cue cards, but must be exciting. It mustn't just be a bunch of learners standing in a line. No. It's got to have some drama. It's got to have some presentation. They've got to be loud and proud about their presentation. All right, then there are 5 minutes for Q&A. Then we go on to technical robot design, and 5 minutes for presentation, explanation, 5 minutes for Q&A. And then a core values is just a Q&A. And so up until 2 or 3 years ago, we used to have a core values presentation. That is out. There is no core values presentation. The team is being judged on their core values whilst they're doing the innovation project, whilst they're doing robot design. And core values judging is really watching the teams. We also have a number of undercover judges that walk around in between the teams out in the playing field, and everything gets noted. All right. Core values, 3 minutes, and then the feedback, usually some thank you very much kind of thing. You've got 5 minutes. What is really important here is that if you are judging, you only judge what the teams bring. All right. You as a judge, it's not your place to tell them what they should have, could have, didn't do. All right. You just need to acknowledge what the team has brought to the presentation, and you are evaluating what they bring. Okay. Unfortunately, there are still some coaches that are not well prepared, and we find teams coming to a judging session with 0 project, and even worse, have not worked through the 12 sessions, and so don't know what the theme is about. That is not constructive at all and is just not acceptable. However, you cannot penalize the team for not bringing anything there. Then you just ask them a couple of questions, but they cannot be considered for any awards because they don't have a project. All right. Also, it's not okay to bring a project that somebody else did for them, and that will be deliberated in the judging rooms. And maybe Elmarie can just now shed some light on that as well. But basically, after the team leaves, the judges in the room have kind of 10 minutes to complete all the rubrics and then submit the rubrics. We're trying an online scoring, so hopefully it'll flow a little bit better. But that's it. Okay, you have to be prepared. You have very little time to interact with your teams. All right. And also, teams do not leave anything with the judges. In the past, we had those 1-pagers. I think we might just have a 1-pager team introduction, but I do not think anything else beyond that. We cannot be responsible to hand back projects and filings and everything like that. Okay, so that's what the judging session looks like. This is what the teams get. You'll see they have a whole lot of resources as well. So if they don't use it, that is definitely to their detriment. But they have a problem about hobbies, collecting, skateboarding, blah, blah, blah. They research the solution. They must find out existing solutions. All right, so normal solutions to share my hobby of stamp collecting is I have an exhibition in my house. and 2 people come and look at my stamps. That is just not okay. So then you've got to, so that is the existing solutions. Tell me existing solutions. And then you create a new solution, innovate. You see their word is new, innovative way to share. New, innovative way to share. So what is the innovation? What is the technology that the team used? All right. That's the important part. Then where did they share it? So ideally, they should have shared it, say, with the Rotary Club. They should have made an appointment to attend a meeting. They must have at least a Google form or a questionnaire with 6 questions where they can collect data, and that data then needs to be presented as with analysis to determine the impact of your solution. All right. And then you need to be able to prepare your presentation. You only have 5 minutes, but you have 5 minutes to prepare it very quickly and present it with the importance and the confidence that you have. All right. And I will share a poster, project poster, which works very well. All right. There's your innovation project rubric. You'll see team number, your team name, and your judging room. At UNISA, we're going to have 6 judging rooms. The beginning is really, everything is down here. It's kind of really, really beginning teams. We're hoping for developing at the very least, okay? And if you don't hear it as a judge, if you don't hear it, you can always ask the question to see whether it is there, all right? And it comes with, you want them to know what resources did they use? Did they speak to an expert? Did they share it? Is there a real definition? Did they walk in and say, our solution is the sharing of stamp collecting with our learners? It's clear, all right? Well, it's partial. And I think maybe we'll give some examples of this as we go along in our thing. Did you share the solution with a user or a professional? Name the person, all right? If they've got a professional and they shared it with that professional, then you would get a tick over here, all right? And so these are the points. So you've got there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 points on which you get evaluated. And if you're working in a team of 2 judges, you will kind of say, you take the first 2, I'll take the next 2, and then somebody else, all right? You have to share your presentation. You have to share the ideas, the feedback, and the improvements. You have to have an original idea. There must be some prototype. There must be something. They cannot come and think, well, we think we need to do a VR solution to collecting stamps. And then they stare at you. That's not going to work because there's no evidence that they've done any work, they've done any research, they've spoken to anybody. It's a pie in the sky. And that doesn't count as an innovation project because there is no innovation in pie. Okay. And just in case you're wondering, let me just share this with you. Just in case you were changing your mind. It's awesome. It's amazing. And the research skills that the teams learn through these innovation projects is unmeasurable. And the knowledge that they gain is just amazing. So on that note, I would like to pause and I'm open for questions. Are there any questions? I'd love to hear from you. Awesome. So thank you very much. That is really, in a very nutshell, what project judging or innovation research is about. Anybody got any questions? I have a question.
Yes, I do have a question on the mother tongue presentation. I think Linda mentioned it, but I was still struggling now with the network, and it's quite important for me, especially for grade 3s, because in our case, they're doing their subjects mostly in isiXhosa. So how are they going to be assessed when it comes to the presentation on their mother tongue?
Okay, so we are very aware that some learners do not speak English. We are aware of that. That's why it's always good to have volunteers on the group, on the reviewer group that can speak that language, and then maybe engage with the learners. Yeah, that we kind of do it as we see fit. If the learners are able to speak English, then we prefer it in English, obviously, so that more volunteers can understand. But however, for the challenge, we try to have English as the presentation language, especially if they're going to go to regionals, and if they're going to go internationally. If you go internationally, you would need to be able to present your project in English. But we are very aware that there are regions. In KZN, we had judges that helped the learners. We also know that for many learners, this is the first time that they are participating. And so incredibly shy, very nervous, which is why we try to encourage celebration events before learners go to regional events. Yeah, we take it one competition at a time, but we're very aware of that issue. Thanks, Lusanda.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. House. Just a follow-up question. I would like to know if I can re-register my learners, because that's what we had noticed when we were practicing with them, the innovation project, that those, that we, thought they will do the thingy, we had noticed that they are a bit shy. And then, funny enough, when it comes to coding and robotics, the learners that are not academically, good, will show some characteristics of the fourth industrial revolution skills, which is one of them will be communication and, being problem solvers. And then now my request is to re-register my team for my Explore, because that's what we had found out, and we had to rechange our learners. Is that fine?
But have the learners not been through the 12 sessions?
Yes, they've been, all of them. The whole class had been in the journey of models and the journey of energy as it is. But now my point is, we had noticed that those that we picked, they are a bit shy, irrespective of talking their language or not. So that's why I would like to re-register.
You're just changing the names on the team?
Yeah. Yes, we're
You're
just
not
changing the
team
names.
Okay. Maybe
No.
Okay. Maybe just speak to Mariska. Just send the list through to Mariska. Email it to her. Okay. I'm not sure you'll be able to get onto the system to change it. I think Mariska's already drawn up the schedule. I think that's already been finalized.
Okay, let's hope they still
just send the list
a
to
way
Mariska.
For us. Okay. All right then. All right. Thank you, Dr. House.
Thank you, Lusanda. All right. Anybody else got any questions? Anybody? Wait. Lusanda,
yes, yes, I was about to lower it down, but I remember you say something about the core values, that the core values are not going to be assessed. They're going to be, they will be assessed during the time of the interaction.
Yeah. So previously we had a different format. So we used to have 3 different judging areas. The judging was much longer, and there was what we called a core values presentation. All right. Now that format has changed. So it's a single judging session. It's a single judging session where they do a project. They do their project this is for challenge. They do the project as I showed you on the flow, but whilst they're talking, the core values judges are watching the interactions between the learners, that there's no bullying or only one learner talks and the rest have to keep quiet. There's a lot of body language in the presentation of a project. If everybody's standing with their hands folded, then there's no team teamwork. If a couple of learners are standing at the back and not interacting, or if somebody's playing, you know, upstairs or looking upstairs, or somebody's on their cell phone while somebody's presenting, that doesn't do for a synchronized project presentation. All right. And so the core values are watching that and saying, but this team is not even interacting as a single team. They are each having their own missions. A team needs to come in to a room. All right. They need to be identified. They must have an identity. Hi, we are the Smarties. And then they must get on with their project presentation. They must know what they're doing. At the back here, I've got a 16-slide project presentation. That's for challenge. So it must be very organized. They must know what they're doing. And then also, when you're in that, you have to stick to the time. You cannot have a whole team coming in and doing a sing-song for 4.5 minutes, and now they want to start their project. Your time is up. When you walk in, the room judge starts a timer and says, you have 5 minutes. When your time is up, thank you, team, moving on. You cannot blah, blah, blah from on the project for just an undisclosed amount of time. You have to stick to the schedule. And so teams need to be prepared and well organized when they come into the judging rooms. They need to have practice. And that's what these 12 sessions are all about, is preparing learners to present and to be part of a judging session. All right.
Okay, I'm hearing you. Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm just now having a popping out question as you are talking, because I do know of 2.5 minutes when it comes to the robot game. But I am not sure the overall schedule of the whole team. How many minutes are they given?
Okay, so Lusanda, in your team meeting guide at the back, it shows the flow of the judging session. They come in, they have 5 minutes for a presentation, they have 5 minutes for questions, they have 5 minutes for robot design, they have 5 minutes. That's the flow. That's when they come into the judging rooms. Okay. And
okay, I will check.
And it's actually good to, especially in the last few weeks before a competition, is to get the learners in the flow to understand this is how it's going to be. They need to know what and need to be prepared for what lies ahead. Okay. For explore and for the reviewing, it's not quite. Thank you, Casper. There we go. That's the flow. It's you 2 minutes, you come in, then you get 5 minutes, and then you leave, so that the judging can stick to the schedule. All right.
Okay. All right. I see.
There we go. All right.
Thank
and
you,
then,
Dr. House.
You're welcome. For the explore reviewing, they kind of, there's Linda put her hand up. Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, I just wanted to say explore is much less structured than challenge. What usually happens is the teams don't go into a judging room or a reviewing room. The reviewers will go to the explore teams and talk to the teams at their tables, because they don't have to, so that they don't have to carry around those models and the posters and everything. So they set up once in the morning. The reviewing is done at their tables. We ask them the questions at their tables, and that's done. Okay, and we usually have about 10 minutes that we have for each team. But if you see, because Patricia had first-hand experience where she got up because she was done asking her questions, and the little girl said, "Can you please sit down, please? We're not done." So then you sit down and you listen carefully what they have to say for the next 3 minutes, and then you ask them, "Are you done now?" And then you can go because they are quite cheeky. Patricia, I found 2 pictures that I quickly just want to share. This is of the superpowered session or season.
Okay.
But they're very different. So that's actually why I want to show them. Just tell me if you can see it. I hope it's big enough. I can make it a bit bigger. Okay, this is now a poster as well. So this one was built, it's a superpower season, but it was built just with one explore set. So that you can see that they built some buildings that they've now explained, obviously, what their whole superpower or journey is about. I see there's a charging station for an electric car on the side, and they've got their little moving model, and you'll see that it's not one of our moving models. So it's not the wind turbine that they made move, or the merry-go-round. They made something else move here on the side. So that's typically what a model will look like. So you've got your explore models. Remember, we had 3 last year for superpowered. It was the storage unit, which is here. Actually, they have 2 moving models I see now. They had the, it's the wind turbine and the merry-go-round, and then the storage unit, which is here. So that's the first one. And then I just quickly want to show you the second one as well, because that's more elaborate. This is an overseas team. They obviously took out all the Lego that they could find, which your teams can also do. I wouldn't recommend it because the mat is only that big, but but they can take out more things than they want, and they can build a model with this. But what I wouldn't recommend is they also use the Spike Prime here, so don't let the kids use a Spike Prime. When you go to an official first event, you only use the Spike Essential with the smaller kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think also the important thing, as Linda, as you're saying, they have built something, but they must also be able to explain it. They must have a story to tell. And so it's and Mariska, I see your hand, but it's really cool to have a team explaining how they understand. I'll go back to Cargo Connect, and they had each member of the team had a little house, and so they had different color houses, and I live in the blue house and the red house, and so they had to transport between, and that's what cargo is. And so they had this whole story, but that's what it's about. It's building the terminology. And so if they can add the words, like for superpowered, if they can add, this is the storage, and this is the source of the energy, and this is the journey of the energy, and now it's with Masterpiece. These are the, I don't know, cameramen, and I don't know, all the other things.
Yeah, there's lots of things.
Brush up on my technology. Mariska, your hand is up.
Linda, I'm not sure if you're going to show some more pictures of the poster.
Oh, no, I wasn't planning on. I can put that one picture back that had the poster on.
Yes, that's
because
good.
I just want to say.
Sorry, no, not that one.
The first picture that you show, that poster look much more like the coaches kind of do it. The judges or the reviewers for the Explore must remember, look at what the children did. If they only draw their own little pictures and put their own little story on the poster, then it's fine. It doesn't have to be that elaborate poster with all the print out info on it and stuff. It will be better actually if teams write their own stories, their drawing their own pictures and putting it on the poster. Of course, that's the way that you see that they do the work and they actually like what they did.
And sometimes their drawings aren't quite straight, and their wording is not quite enough.
And you know what? If they do it by hand, if they write it by hand and they put little drawings on there that they drew, that's perfectly fine. Also, remember to look at those reviewing questions when you do prepare your team for an event. Look at the questions that they might be asked, because we are asking them, why did you put this on the poster? Show us your team journey on the poster. And the kids need to be able to answer that. If the coach did the poster, they're not going to be able to answer it. And we can immediately see which coaches did it, because when you ask somebody or the kids a question on the poster, they will immediately turn around and look at the coach. So make sure that your kids do the poster. It is important. Thanks, Mariska, for that.
Okay.
I think you've touched on 2 things there, Linda. As much as the coaches want to kind of butt in when the learners stumble over their words, I'm almost asking we're going to ask the coaches to distance themselves from the team. They must be at least 3 meters away. But even for the challenge teams, we are going to request that nobody comes in with the team. Maximum 1 coach, if it really has to be. Otherwise, we prefer no coaches coming into the judging rooms. We need to give our learners an opportunity to share what they've done in the last preparation time. And if you have a coach that is always interrupting, the learners are not going to be able to shine. And this is their moment. They've been working so hard. Let them loud and proudly tell you what they've done. And so you as judges, please listen to our learners. Linda, you want to add?
No, my internet had a hiccup. It's load shedding, so it's on and off. It looks like the towers are not working properly. So it looked like you were freezing, but it was actually on my side.
Oops. All right.
So no, nothing to add. I think we're probably done.
Any other questions? Anybody? I noticed there's a couple new faces in here, a couple of new names we haven't seen yet, but a couple of names that I recognize. I'm not going to single you out, but next week we're going to do some just anybody want to open a topic for discussion, ask any questions? Are we all good? Are we all good? All right. So that was the project. I really encourage you to go and look at all the resources. The teams have got amazing resources for this season of Masterpiece. It is a lot of fun. It's about art, it's about science, it's about technology, and they're going to promote their hobby. We have had feedback from a couple of coaches. That is not as easy as one thinks. For teams to agree on which hobby they're going to do seems to be quite a stressful thing for the teams. And we even have some teams who have decided to promote their mother or their father's hobby, and the team has decided to pick one really cool hobby. So we're really looking forward to A, hearing about the hobbies out there, and B, about the technologies that we can use to advance these hobbies. But it's actually about the learning journey of our team members. And so that is what, when they come to project, that is what they're going to show. Whether it's on an explore level, when they have the model and they're going to show you all the things and how it turns, and then they will probably tell you that they can program it to go faster and slower, and watch what happens when they do this, which is you as a reviewer, you've got to give them those few moments that they have your undivided attention. For challenge, if you come into if a team comes into your project room and you are judging them, you need to listen to what they're telling you. You need to listen and hear what they've done, and you need to congratulate them on what they have achieved. It's very easy to step back into a mode of saying, but you could have and you would have and you should have, but they didn't. All right. They bring what they have, and you need to, for that, you need to acknowledge and listen to their story. Some of them will be very dramatic in their presentations. Some of them might not be as dramatic. Some of them might be a little bit more shyer. But for every single learner, they need to have an opportunity to say at least something in a project, innovation project judging session. All right. I hope I've inspired some more project judges. It's an amazing journey. If you're not comfortable, if you want to kind of volunteer as a judge with somebody with more experience, please let Diana know and say you've never judged before, but you would love to embark on this journey. So Diana has got a whole lot of experienced judges, and I see we've got a couple in the session here, and we've got a couple of those with a little bit more experience, a little bit less experience, but we'll put them all together. And if you're not comfortable, please let Diana know as well, and she manages all the volunteers. Casper, you want to add something?
Yes, Dr. Gous. So my question now is, let's say, for example, my hobby is fishing. So will that be able to be as a hobby for this project or not?
Absolutely, fishing. As long as you don't expect me to go kill a fish. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yes, yes, it is. That would be a hobby. That is an interest or a hobby. And I think you've raised an important point there, Casper. As long as you can name what your hobby is, and fishing is kind of, I think, more generic. I
can make it more specific. Bass angling or bass fishing. There are 23 types of fishing, so I'll say that specific one.
Then that's part of your presentation. Casper, luckily, does technical judging, so he's not on your project. I will let you know when somebody is a bass fisher.
Bass angler.
Oh, bass angler. Oh, my word. You see, I've got the wrong word. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining this discussion. Yeah, I'm really hoping to see you again next week. If you haven't volunteered, please volunteer. We'd love to have you on board. If you'd love to join one of the other regions, that'll be even more fun. You can do multiple sessions with us and join the group. And I'd just like to close now with saying that we have been very hard at work growing the number of robotics teams in this country. And we started amid COVID, and we have phenomenal and inspired coaches who have, despite COVID, despite load shedding, despite I don't know whatever, they have gone the extra mile to raise these teams and prepare these teams. And so for the very first time ever, the actuals have exceeded the expectations. And so we are stuck now. We have too many robotics teams. And so we are flying in some more challenge sets so that every learner gets an opportunity to participate in a first Lego League competition. And so on that amazing note, I'm going to say thank you to all the coaches who are preparing the teams, and to the learners who are having so much fun, and to you volunteers, potential volunteers. If I need to say something else to convince you to join the team, please join the team. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining in the conversation. I really do appreciate it. And we will see each other again next week, Wednesday evening. And if there's anybody who would like to join the coaching sessions, feel free to send us an email, and we will definitely share all those links as well. All right. Thank you, everybody. Stay well. Bye.